Ah. Hi, everyone, and good morning. It is indeed Tuesday morning when I'm recording this, and hopefully Tuesday morning when I load this one. I have another video I'm waiting on to finish processing for later today. It is a colored pencil review video, but this morning I noticed that the email I'd received from Jade Summer for Black Friday had certain books marked down to $4 each. And apparently that was also their Cyber Monday sale yesterday. Now, they said the prices would go up today. I don't have a specific time, but seeing as how it was a later email send yesterday, I would suspect it's probably going to be later in the day, US Eastern time. So for some of you that see this morning and haven't heard about it yet, may be interested in one of these books, you might want to act on it. So, and well, I'll talk about it as I'm flipping through these. I did order some of these myself as well. I had digital copies of a couple, but I didn't have the actual book version. So, with them marked down to $3.99, I wanted to go ahead and pick up a couple of these. So, we're just going to do a flip through. It is a group of 6 books, 3 grayscale and 3 blank for beginners, I guess would be the best way to put it. Now, I do not have the Mandalas for Beginners book, which is one of the others. That is the only book out of that series that I don't have. So I will, however, provide a link to that, of course. So first, we're going to look at the grayscales. This is Chibi Girl's grayscale. Now, with grayscale books, please keep in mind they do have a non-grayscale version, and then they have the grayscale version. So just make sure you get the right version that you are looking for. So you've got your regular Jade Summer information here. It is an imprint owned by Fritz and Publishing. It's not an actual person. This gives you a little bit of thumbnail kind of look at the different pictures. And let's get going. So I have seen a couple people color out of this many times, and I really like the book. I just haven't really wanted. I had a digital version, but I really didn't know if I wanted to get the paper copy until I kept seeing people color out of it, and I'm like, oh, this is actually really cute. So when I really like this one. This might be the first one that I do. We all know how this goes when I do flip throughs. Actually, where are my cat ones? I spent yesterday doing some major organizing in my room, so my little art room. Whoop. And sorry about that. I bet that didn't sound pleasant on the receiving end. My microphone slid off. There we go. It's too many of them. It's too early in the morning to be recording. I saw this email and I was like, I better go ahead and do this if I'm doing one so that hopefully people will have enough time to take advantage of the sales. So, as I've noted before, but I will note again, with Jade Summer, their digital editions are going away. So, as of right now and in the past, what you've been able to do is you can purchase a paper copy of the book, which would provide you a code for a free digital version as well, which is helpful if you do not like this rough type of Amazon printed paper. But they are doing away with their digital editions. If you just got the digital copy off of Etsy, it would run about $4, while the paper copy generally varies in price. This one's pretty cute too. But December 14th, they are no longer going to carry the digital editions on Etsy. So you have about... Sid, now is not the time to get up here. You have about 2.5 weeks to purchase a digital edition off of Etsy. Now, that does not mean that they disappear from the books, either what you have now or what you have, what you have had in the past. They said all print books will stop providing, well, one of these days, all print books like this will stop carrying the free digital download code as of January 14th. So roughly about a month after the digital versions, just purchasing the digital versions on Etsy, basically Etsy goes away. But after January 14th, you can have a paper copy and not have downloaded the digital version yet, and they will still hold to that. They'll give you access to that site. As far as I can tell, they're going to keep that available to people so that if you already have a code, then you can go download it anytime. You don't have to feel rushed to do so. That may phase out completely down the road. I don't know, but don't panic if you haven't done that yet. So I will put a link to all this information. This one's pretty. This has got a lot of good ones to color, actually. This might be the next book that I kind of just color in on my own. Might be what I do today. We've got one color by number picture to finish up, and then we start back over. So this is a book where you get, I think it's roughly 25 images, and then you get a copy of those images as well. So you get roughly 50 pages total. So that is Chibi Girls Grayscale. Next, we have the Grayscale version of Light and Dark Fantasy. Now, this one's a little different in that there are two separate books available that are non-grayscale. One's Light Fantasy, one's Dark Fantasy. They combine them together in this book, and you don't get your second copy of images. It's just 50 unique images from both of these books. So keep that in mind. Again, it's a good thing about doing a bunch of Jade Summer books at once. We all kind of get the idea of what's what. So here's that. Didn't provide a thumbnail preview, though. That's different. So the Chibi Girls Grayscale book is an older book. This is probably, there we go. That's better. This is one of their newest books they've released, probably in the last couple months. So I've also seen a number of people coloring in this one, and it's been really good. I've had two. I cut one out. I need to cut the other one out. I don't know. Sometimes I get in the mood where I start cutting them out, and then I'm like, why did I do that? I saw a gorgeous version of this last night on Instagram. Now, you've probably seen half a dozen flip-throughs of these books. I may have actually flipped through the Light and Dark Fantasy book before. But with this particular sale going on, I wanted to go ahead and run back through these. Actually, it's just this one, I believe, so that you have an idea of what's in the books right this very moment. Save you a little bit of time going and digging around, I suppose. I really like this one. I keep coming back to it, and I can't make up my mind. But I colored one image and cut it out, and I hated it. It was probably one of my least favorite images. We'll just say it like that. But then I colored another one, and I loved it. So I'm getting better with it. This one, like, in a way, I enjoy that it's 50 unique images. I'm glad that they took two books and at once turned them grayscale to grayscale versions. Good gracious, y'all, I need a second, third, fourth, fifth cup of coffee this morning. In a way, I like that because obviously that gives you a lot more unique coloring pages. But also, if I make a mistake, I have the digital version at least from this book, but I'm kind of lazy sometimes. So at least I have that. If I really don't like how I did something, I can always come back and print it back out and try again. So this is why I stress the importance of especially getting a paperback book with the digital edition so that you have extra copies if something goes wonky. There is one picture missing in this book. It is the one where the horse is in a field. That's the one I cut out. Now, on the Amazon pages, this is the one I did a couple weeks ago that I like a lot. So, just basic markers and some glitter gel pen. This may be the next one I do. I really like that one a lot. That was, I think, going to be the one I was going to color before, and then I forgot. I also want to color this handsome fellow right here. Now I'm going to put timestamps as usual in the description. I don't do one book at a time flip throughs. It's probably easier to find the flip throughs that way in the future if somebody's looking through the archives, but it's not as much anymore. But it's always a job to get this all set up, and I figure I'm not going to make somebody click 3 or 4 times if they want to look through all the books at once. Now, they do show some of the examples from their other books in the back of this one. So, these are the 2 books I was talking about that it kind of came together for. Yep, okay. So, yeah, we still have a digital code in this one, too. It's just they kind of changed their layout of these. Now, I've had the light and dark fantasy one for a while, so I did not get that during the sale. I got it when it was released at the intro price of $3.99. Vampires Grayscale. Again, this is kind of an older book in their group of books. So now you have the thumbnails again up front. And then we kick off into this one. Now, I believe this is another one where it's 25 images and then it repeats. There is also a regular version of this book. So, again, make sure you're looking at the Grayscale version if that's the one you want. The original version, as far as I know, is not marked down. It is the Grayscale version of the books I've shown today that are the ones that are marked down. Again, I do not know for how long. The email was kind of cryptic. It went out at 3 o'clock yesterday, my time, and then it said the prices will go back up tomorrow. So I'm not sure if that means they're going to give it 24 hours or if they're going to up the prices like this morning. So I will double check when I load this video to make sure it hasn't already been raised up, because that would kind of suck. But no, I just wanted to give people kind of a last minute opportunity to grab one of these if they've been looking for either more Grayscale books or maybe more beginner coloring books. So, some really pretty images. This was one that I had been thinking of off and on for months. I'd see other people coloring it, and I'm like, I really like that picture, but then I'd go back and look at it and just be like, I don't know. And so I figured this was finally the time. And there is a story there. Oh, Lord. And then we start back over. Yep. And they actually showed just the version in the back that doesn't have the Grayscale with it. So those are the 3 Grayscale books they do have on sale. I'm trying to think. They do have at least one other. It's called like an animals Grayscale book. And I actually have that one. And it's really cool. It's one of their older books. This is Flowers for Beginners. So the next 3 books in this series are their beginner, like 4 beginner series, I guess you would say. And these are, the layout's a little bit different again. You get your little letter here about the digital copy. So this is one of the new ones I picked up. The ones I already owned were Light and Dark Fantasy Grayscale and the Animals for Beginners version. I do not have the Mandalas for Beginners book. That was one I just didn't pick up for myself. I really kind of like the flowers here because there's one called Relaxing Flower Designs. I actually used that, I think. Yes. I used that in my review of the Colore. I don't know. Colored pencils that I'm putting up later today. But it has a lot of pattern work in it. These are a whole lot more simple images. And if you like coloring flowers and leaves, I would say this not only gives you something simple to color if, you don't want to sit down to a detailed image, but this also gives you a chance to practice as well. So you can get your blends, get the different kinds of colors that you want to use. And then, you have 2 copies, I believe, of all the images in this book. So you have plenty of opportunity to really color these and make them your own, or again, just as kind of a practice. This one's pretty. I like the symmetry of it. And I know this has like a 4 beginners tag on it, but I guess I'm still considered a beginner. I've only really been coloring since about March or April at this point. So, but this is more my style of flowers usually. If I'm going to color them, I like to have them not quite as detailed and complicated. I think we're still going. Yeah, we're still rolling. That's pretty, like the little comb you would put in your hair. I like that they put them in different things, like a vase and the little hair comb. Mm-hmm. It should be coming back up around. Oh, maybe I went ahead and flipped through to the others. Wouldn't that be funny? I think I did. Or not. Oh, Lord. I'm being real helpful right now, aren't I? I can't even remember. No, actually, that is a different bird. So this one might actually have 50 unique images. Sure looks like it. So look at that. We all learned something today. I assumed they were copies. But again, you have your digital edition code when you get this one. So you can always, of course, print out copies. If you don't have a printer yourself, or your printer's on the fritz, or you use ink that costs like $70 for about 5 copies, you could always put this on, put your digital versions on a little thumb drive. You could probably also access them if you saved them on like OneDrive or in your Google Drive or something like that. Access them, say, at the library. And a lot of times they will let you print out or make copies of things for, 10 cents, I think, for black and white. That's my local library. So 10 cents for black and white, and I think it's 25 cents for a color copy. And like I said, you could also print it. And they may let you, if you have cardstock and you ask them if you can print on it, they may let you do that too. I don't know. I would say mine would, but it's a small town library too, so. So yeah, you get 50 unique images in this one, which is pretty cool. Very nice. Lastly, we have Animals for Beginners. Now, the cover that shows on Amazon actually has like a blue background, but I checked the first few images and they look to be the exact same. So it's just the color of the cover, I think, is the only big difference. Your digital copy. Again, these aren't quite as detailed of images as a lot of your other books. That is one reason I like the Jade Summer books. There is some really neat detail work that's done in a lot of the books and a lot of the images, but it's not overwhelming, I guess. So basically, like, I consider Jade Summer books to be kind of the comfort food of the coloring book world. So let's say you have, like, I love this one with a little corgi. Let's say you have a really, really good recipe for some type of like chicken marsala or something. Just pick some dish that, I know chicken marsala is probably not complicated to some of you, but pick a really complicated dish. Think of that in your head, right? That's like your Joanna Basford or your Kirby Rosanna's books. And of course, y'all know I love this one. Then think of like just that meal that you can eat that doesn't take a lot of time and it's comfort food. This page was one I actually did. I did a whole Jade Summer kind of book review months and months ago when I first started this channel, showing the different mediums and how they work in the books. And this was my tester page for, this is actually the twistable colored pencils for Crayola crayons. I show what happens when you try to blend with different things, your Prisma Verithins, your Prisma Premiers, and then I think Faber-Castell, Arteza, and your Pilicon. I have Crayola, Hero, and then just rainbow colored pencils. So you can make colored pencils work on this paper. You just have to get a little creative with it. The harder the pencil, I have a cat that's over there coughing. Laying down marker and then shading with pencil will give you probably the better results in the least amount of time. But yeah, no, I would say like imagine meatloaf and mashed potatoes or something. And are you all right, Oreo? You got it? No? Goodness. He's going to cough for the rest of the stupid video. I know I sound awful. I like this one too a lot. I know I sound awful and unconcerned, but that's not I'm about to hack up a hairball cough or it's not like a wet sounding cough and I need to take him to bed. That's more of I got something caught in my throat and I'm trying to just cough and clear it out. So, but no, Jade Summer books for me are like meatloaf and mashed potatoes. They're just comfort food, stuff that is always easier to make and just makes me happy. It doesn't require a lot of work or effort. You can if you want to. I mean, you can jazz up meatloaf, right? You could do a lot of things with it. I like that one, of course. You can jazz that up. Whoop, hang on. Are we in a situation where we have 50 more unique images, or we have another set of unique images? We may be. Ooh, that spider one's coming out. Yep. This one also has 50 unique images. Huh. It looks almost just like the rooster in their animal mandalas one, which, hey, you know what? Considering the number of books they put out and the variety of images they put out, I can give their team that one. I'm impressed that they still manage most of the time to put new books out every week. I like the duck. And that might be what happens is They've moved their new releases to Tuesdays, I think. So what they might do is put the price up on these and then do their new release, whatever that's going to be, and I do not know. They have discontinued their advanced review copy program, which is a shame. 9 times out of 10, if there was a book I was reviewing the digital copy of that I really liked, I would always go purchase the paper version just to try to be supportive. But not everybody would be willing to do that, and that's an awful lot of free stuff floating around for people. So yeah, you've got 50 unique images. Just look at the back of the books, Michelle. That will help you. So I think these all did not repeat. The Light and Dark Fantasy did not repeat. The Grayscale one. These two do have repeating images. So as well, as far as mandalas for beginners, I don't have that one again. You'll probably have to go and look that one. I will put a link to these books in the description. I will put a timestamp down there to specific books as usual. I will also put a link to the mandalas book. Again, I stress, I do not know how much longer they're going to keep these at this price. So if you're watching this and you're interested in any of these, I would say go ahead and consider it. They may or may not do this again as the season progresses. And because they're doing away with digital editions entirely, even if you don't want the paper copies, I would suggest going over to Etsy now, and the digital versions are always $4 over there. Just here you get the paper and the digital for $4, so you get a little bit extra. Anyway, guys, hope you enjoy, and I'll talk to y'all soon. Bye for now.